At 37, Claire Bennett could spot betrayal faster than most people could read a clock. She worked as a forensic accountant in Cincinnati, Ohio. The kind of woman businesses hired when money disappeared and nobody could explain where it went. Numbers made sense to her because numbers never pretended. People did. That lesson came from her grandmother, Evelyn, who spent years teaching Claire bookkeeping at the kitchen table of a quiet brick house that smelled like cedar and old paper. Evelyn kept every record in a worn leather ledger and always told her the same thing. Numbers don't lie. People do. Claire grew up in the shadow of her older sister, Vanessa. Vanessa was beautiful, charming, and adored by their mother, Linda, who treated her like the daughter destined for a perfect life. Claire was the dependable one, the quiet one, the daughter expected to survive without help. While Vanessa collected praise, Claire collected responsibilities. The only person who truly saw her was Evelyn. When Claire was 12, Evelyn opened a custodial savings account in her name and carefully added money for years' birthday gifts, stock dividends, holiday checks, every dollar documented in blue ink inside the ledger. By the time Evelyn died, the account had grown into a substantial future for Claire, meant for college, a home, or emergencies. 6 years later, Claire's life collapsed in a single second when a truck ran a red light and crushed her car. The accident destroyed 2 vertebrae in her spine. Doctors warned she needed urgent surgery or risk permanent nerve damage. The procedure cost more than she could afford, and while wearing a rigid back brace that made every movement agony, Claire called her parents asking for access to the custodial account her grandmother had left her. Her mother hesitated before saying there was almost nothing left. Claire didn't understand. Evelyn had spent years building that account, but every time Claire asked for records, her mother delayed, changed the subject, or ignored the calls completely. Meanwhile, Vanessa had just gotten engaged, and Linda poured all of her attention into planning an extravagant wedding. Imported flowers, custom gowns, chandeliers, gourmet catering, every detail designed to impress everyone around them. One afternoon, desperate and barely able to walk, Claire sat across from her mother at the kitchen table and begged for help with the surgery. Her mother calmly closed a wedding planning binder and told her, "Your sister needs it more than you do. You'll manage." And Claire did. She worked through unbearable pain, took extra jobs, maxed out credit cards, and spent 2 years saving enough money for surgery herself. She recovered slowly, earned her CPA license, and built a successful forensic accounting firm from nothing. Over time, she distanced herself from her family. They never asked about the years she spent struggling or the debt she carried because of the surgery. Claire became the daughter who was simply expected to endure. 11 years later, everything changed. Her mother suddenly called in tears saying Vanessa needed emergency spinal surgery after her husband abandoned her with debt, divorce papers, and a teenage daughter named Lily. The family immediately turned to Claire for help, expecting her to rescue Vanessa financially the same way they once expected her to survive alone. Then Claire received an unexpected invitation to collect old belongings from Evelyn's house before it was sold. While searching through the attic, she discovered the cedar box she remembered from childhood. Inside were the leather ledger, the custodial account papers, and every handwritten deposit Evelyn had ever made. The final balance recorded by Evelyn was over $67,000. Claire felt something colder than anger. She felt math. Using her professional experience, she forced the bank to release archived records connected to the account. The truth arrived weeks later in a thick envelope. On the day Claire begged for surgery money years earlier, the account actually held more than $82,000. Her parents had drained it completely over 6 months. Every withdrawal matched Vanessa's wedding expenses exactly. The venue, the flowers, the catering, the dress, the decorations. Claire's surgery money had paid for Vanessa's dream wedding. Her grandmother's savings had been stolen while Claire lay in pain wearing a back brace. Told to manage, Claire hired an attorney immediately. Under state law, the custodial account legally belonged to her, and her parents had violated their fiduciary duty by spending it on someone else. With interest and investment growth, the stolen money now equaled almost the exact amount spent on the wedding years earlier, $135,000. Before the legal demand letter even arrived, Claire's mother invited the entire family to a support dinner for Vanessa, clearly expecting Claire to publicly offer financial help. Claire came carrying two things: a peach cobbler made from Evelyn's recipe and the cedar box. At the dinner table, surrounded by relatives pressuring her to help Vanessa pay for surgery, Claire quietly opened the box and laid out the evidence: the ledger, the account documents, and the bank statements showing every wedding payment tied directly to her stolen money. The room fell silent. Her mother cried and claimed she only did what was necessary for the family. Vanessa accused Claire of punishing her over money while she was sick. Relatives begged Claire to forgive and move on. Then her mother repeated the same words she had spoken 11 years earlier. "Your sister needs surgery now." Claire looked at the wedding photo hanging on the wall, the one bought with her future, and calmly answered with the same cold practicality her mother once used on her: "She'll manage." 3 months later, the lawsuit settled for $131,000 plus legal fees. Claire's parents refinanced their home to pay it back. Vanessa eventually found a hospital payment plan and had the surgery herself. Claire used part of the settlement to create a protected trust account for Lily, so history could never repeat itself. Another portion went to a hospital fund helping uninsured patients afford surgery. The rest went back into the business Claire had built entirely on her own. Her mother stopped calling. Her father called only occasionally. Vanessa eventually sent a short apology text admitting she never knew where the wedding money came from. Claire never forgot what happened, but she stopped carrying the anger. What remained was clarity. The cedar box now sits beside her office desk, next to the same leather ledger where her grandmother once wrote in careful blue ink, "Numbers don't lie. People do."